thank you, MMA, for giving us this stage and the opportunity to discuss about AI and how AI is impacting marketing from the brand level to a store level. So, and I have with me Piyush from Agilus. So, Piyush, what I today call as a perfect marketeer for the future, right? So he is the one who comes from a product marketing background or a product background, and from the matters of heart at Woo dating app to now giving people their report card of their heart. He is with Agilus. In between, he did a stint with McKinsey and also with Google. So if you look at it as a marketeer, his journey has been not rooted in FMCG. His journey has been rooted in tech, and that's what I believe the future marketeer has to be. Either they have to transform themselves or they have to be rooted in tech. One thing which I would love to know from Piyush as we kickstart, marketing, when probably you started your journey at Woo and Google, it was already about a lot of data, right? Marketing moved from just talking about reach, frequency, impressions to actionable data, understanding acquisition. So the whole ecosystem of collecting data and analyzing it was there. And now we're building intelligence on that layer. So I'd love to understand your journey from those days to nowadays. How has it changed as a marketeer and now also the chief digital officer of one of the largest diagnostic chains in India? How has that journey changed?
Thank you, Sandeep. So there's a ton of change. So, and I, of course, like you mentioned, don't really come from a FMCG background, though I worked with Kantar earlier, starting my career in consumer insights in Kantar. But then I think what has changed significantly is that data is now abundant and in a lot of form, a lot of shape. And like we were discussing outside that, there's so much of data, this data is there for decades. There is no actionable insight as of now. I think there is actionable insight now which was there earlier as wisdom. I think now those actionable insights we see as getting more and more data backed, and we are able to take those decisions on a daily basis, right? So I think most of the stuff that as a marketer you do, or as in terms of digital transformation that we do, there is a ton of data available for you to take that action, and it just is available in abundance, just that somebody has to pick up the right thread and use it.
Great. So you spoke about insights and actionable insights. So being a consumer, I would be gathering tons of my health data today, right? Be it on my app, which is my Apple Watch, or could be a ring, could be a band, or when I get my blood test done, it's all sort of stored in your databases. So all my health data is getting digitized. So in your industry, in your sort of organization, how are you using that data to give actionable insights to your teams who can build some kind of customer loyalty or help you retain customers, get them back, or even help them predict certain patterns through which they can be more proactive in terms of getting their health tested? So how are you using this abundance of data within your organization to improve your efficiency in terms of operations and outreach to customers?
Yeah. So great question. So I think most of us have been using a wearable of some sort or the other. These are, digital biomarkers or continuous data that we get. And these are primarily lifestyle kind of data. You would get SpO2, you would get probably an ECG, you would probably get a number of steps you've done. Captures most of what people do on a lifestyle basis. And this is more continuous. This is more like a video. This is like a movie that you're doing across, like in terms of data, this is like continuously streaming throughout your day or throughout your lifestyle. And then on the other side, you have pathology data, which is more like a snapshot data at one point in time. It's more like a photograph, but a very, very high quality megapixel picture, which gives you in detail about what is really wrong at that particular instant in time, right? Of course, today reports come in with longitudinal data as well. They give you trend of, what was wrong earlier and how is it improving. But again, it's like photograph to photograph, right? I think what is happening right now is that companies like us are trying to combine these two together And there is government initiatives also around it, like the ABDM project, where all of the healthcare companies are required to upload the data of all the customers, whether it's a prescription that you've taken or you've done a test. All of that resides in one place, right? So when you would, and that is the place where you could start making sense of all of this data, connecting the dots between the two, put a correlation between the two, that if you have a higher or a lower SpO2 or a VO max is lower for you, what does it mean compared to, say, a cholesterol value or a blood sugar value, and are they even connected, and can you control it? And then comes the next part where AI really helps, is that can you interpret some of your reports and figure out a lifestyle recommendation which will help you monitor these conditions, and especially if you're a chronic medical condition patient, how do you monitor your condition and control that condition in a manner that is just few changes in your lifestyle and can help you build a better lifestyle and health.
Awesome. So does that mean that, and is there a package which will be designed using this insight, which will be tailored to each customer, right? So today, when you look at packages which are offered by diagnostic companies, most of them are very standard, right? I mean, it's same package at the same price point for me versus the same price point for you. Do you think based on this data, I mean, like for instance, when you buy insurance, it's different for different people, or when you take credit card, we spoke about a CIBIL score being a marker of your financial health, right? And based on that, I get different offers versus somebody else who may have a different score. So is that something which is in the offering where you would use this data to customize or personalize marketing, as well as what price points or what packages you want to offer to each customer? Will it be tailored at that level? Can it be tailored at that level?
Yeah, that's a big idea actually. So, we were talking about it, and there's a lot of work happening. Agilus has been working on this, where, we're trying to build some kind of a score, which is a health score, which is accepted by all parties, like a CIBIL score. We were discussing about it, like CIBIL score is like a body created by all the banks, and they try to identify the risk of, or a fleeting risk of somebody who's taken, who's borrowed money, right? Similarly, we would want to create a score basis your pathology reports, and they could be different category of pathology reports, right? Today, you can get like a full body checkup at as low as 399 rupees, and you can go all up the way to 20,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees to get a full body checkup, right? And they would definitely have different values at different price points, right? So of course, this score would also can be classified as a category score, or a B category score, or a C category score, where C being the most comprehensive kind of a score. And if you're on a C category score and your score is, say, out of 1,000, say a 900, then you're a very, very healthy person. This could be used by insurance companies to price you better. So if you're keeping yourself healthy, and that's a lot of effort, right? Why should you be not, rewarded for that kind of effort, and you pay a lower premium versus the other, right? And this will help a lot of different industries. And like, like Sandeep, you were asking about the preventive packages. Now, if I exactly know what are your health risk areas, instead of doing all the tests which were there earlier, one reason is that you would want to do that test because, you would want to make sure that this health score is again relevant and is showing that you are at no risk in those values. But on a regular basis, on a monitoring basis, you are likely to be looking at only a few areas of higher risk because of your genome, because of your lifestyle, and because of the snapshot picture that you taken last time. And you should only work on those areas. And so your preventive health packages would become much shorter, and you were only required to do those tests, which would definitely have a meaning that your cost of doing those tests will also come down.
Awesome. Uh, Also, from a business point of view, right? You are as hyperlocal as it can get, because your customers might be booking these tests via multiple channels. Could be online, could be customers calling in. So tell me, from a pervasiveness of AI or technology, I'm sure at the central level you are implementing a lot of AI or learning, machine learning, or tech to build your marketing programs or build your operational capacity. But has it actually gone to the ground level at your labs or flavors who are actually going out to collect blood samples? How has technology shaped that operational excellence or outreach at a pin code level or laboratory level?
Yeah, so we are working. We have built a platform where we send nudges to patients, and these are particular. So all the customers that we have, all the patients that we have, we have classified and segmented them into uh, huge segmentation exercise where there are about 234 uh, disease segments, and these are like distinct disease segments. Each segment is, so for example, one disease segment would be a diabetes where kidney is also started to show some kind of impact. Another could be a pre-diabetes stage where everything else is okay, but the lipid and the diabetes is kind of showing up a little bit. So these kind of very distinct 234 cohorts is what we've created. And now for each cohort, there is a journey, there is a messaging journey that we have created where, so that, you know, the nudges that goes to you, and it's a, diagnostics is a business of trust, right? So therefore, you know, the messages that go to you should not be a spam. It should help you control your condition better. You are a patient, right? So if you are managing a condition as bad or as a lifestyle condition as diabetes, then you should definitely be, it has to be taken with a lot of care, and the message that we send you has to solve a problem for you, has to make you better in terms of every day, right? So those messages are therefore crafted that, and those are all trigger-based messages. Some of them are journey-based messages. And so you move from one cohort to the other, and therefore you receive those messages. And this is what we also tag at a geo level, at a, so there are places where they would have higher incidence of certain diseases versus the other. So how do we look at, that is more geo-tagged then, versus, you know, which is more cohort-based or more disease segment. Another area that we look for, we even look at our capex in terms of opening a new center or onboarding a new franchisee partner. We have more than 4,000 centers across the country. We are, in terms of footprint, we are the largest diagnostic company in the country. So, you know, when we open a new center, we want to look at whether this center or this franchisee partner is going to be successful or not. And one of the ways to do this is, you know, it's classic retail. So you have the cost of manpower, you have the cost of real estate, and you have the footfall data of how many doctors, how many hospitals are around, because those are very important factors to understand whether this business here will work or not, right? So we use that input to identify that which zone or which shop will make money versus which will not, and what will be the break-even point in terms of footfall, and whether that footfall will be there in this area or not, and therefore we decide whether we want to open the shop here or not. This is completely data-backed. We use tools which are geomap tools to understand this.
Very interesting. You also touched upon trust, right? And we all know healthcare is all about trust. You know, a lot of us have today, I'm sure I have started doing it. As soon as I get a report, I upload it on ChatGPT to ask what does this report mean. And mostly the answers are as good as probably what eventually when I go and pay up a doctor, and the doctor also tells me the same thing, right? But still I would want to go to the doctor. So are you looking at integrating some of these insights along with your report?
Yeah, so two things we are doing. We are making a video assistant for the report. So basically the report is a typical full body checkup preventive health report runs into pages, sometimes, you know, 20, 30 pages. And so it becomes a daunting task for a lot of people to go through the reports and understand what is really wrong or what is right. So what we've started doing is we've started creating video reports. These are AI generated reports. But then the AI is limited to only the report data. It's not saying anything beyond the report. It's just crystallizing the report, summarizing the report, and saying this in an audio which is 2 minutes. So you can just play the audio and the video, and there is an avatar of a doctor who's helping you to understand the report better, and it's just relaying the whole report to you faster. The other thing that we are now doing is that we want to integrate an AI-based tool for doctors. So we have a huge list of doctors that we regularly meet, and, you know, tell them about what advances diagnostics is bringing, and what Agilus has done in terms of you know, what new innovative tests we've brought in, or where we have reduced the TAT somewhere, or where we've used new technology to bring in a new test, right? So these are a list of about 60,000, 65,000 doctors that we regularly meet. What we want to do is that we want to give them a tool where alongside the the tool which they use to write a prescription, they can also use it for interpreting reports, for knowing what's the disease trend in that area, for knowing what's the load of a certain virus in that area, so that they are equipped with all of that information when they are looking at a patient, and that would help them also build trust with their patients.
Wow, it's a great application using video and audio AI to sort of dissect my report. But tell me from a trust standpoint, and I'm sure you would have done these with the consumers, what's the trust question? Are they trusting AI? Or when AI tells them that, okay, this is your diagnostic of the report, are we at that stage where the customers are okay with it? Or there's still some apprehension that this is AI and I'll not trust it?
Patients, I believe, only trust the doctors. So, that's the reality, and I think that's how it should be, right? AI could be a co-pilot, could help you, like I use it. I also sometimes upload my own medical reports to a ChatGPT engine to understand what's there in the report. And it gives good answers, but and sometimes it does forget to pick up something, and I have to then pinpoint that, but you didn't talk about this particular test, which was also out of the range. And then it would say, you say, okay, and this is also out, and which doesn't really mean something or mean something. So, with AI today, the current avatar, I think it's not there to build in trust with the customers directly, but along with the doctor's support, I think it primes you and, prepares you to, and that's also a challenge right now, right? In India, there are very few doctors compared to, compared to any other developed country. So, and doctors' chambers are packed. There are very little time to, talk about the condition with the doctors. Also, I think inherently patients are scared of doctors. So half of the time, I'll give you a personal example. When I go with my mom to a doctor and she will come back and say that, okay, oh, मैं ये तो बोलना भूल गई उनको. They just, out of time, you're also a little bit scared. You don't really bring out the full picture for the doctor. I think what AI can help you is, frame your questions, understand the risk, ask the right questions to the doctor. If a doctor recommends a surgery to you, today I think you have a tool to understand or ask the right questions if this is the right treatment or not, and what can be done apart from this. I think AI helps you with all of those things. But still, the patient would definitely trust the doctor, and I think that is how it should be.
Awesome. So tell me from one KPI which you feel is going to get impacted by integrating AI into your operations, into your marketing, what one KPI you're looking at to improve or to optimize using AI in the next 1 year or so?
So we are, of course, tracking a lot of KPIs as a marketer, and we have a brand which was earlier called SRL. We are now called Agilus, and we have this big challenge of rebranding to a new entity, and we are a 30-year-old brand, and overnight we decided to change the brand. So it's a big task to get to the awareness number where SRL was, and the challenge is a lot of people are aware of Agilus. They are also aware of SRL, but they're not aware that SRL is now Agilus. And that is a big challenge that we have. So we're tracking how do we improve this metric of awareness about the brand. In terms of any other operational metric, I think how we are also tracking, like I was talking about the clinical nudges that we're doing. We also track how many patients are finding these clinical nudges relevant. Are there any actions happening? Are they reading the articles which are there? So I think that keeps us motivated to send more relevant content to the customers, because we want them to be using this for being more healthy.
Great. So spoken a lot about Agilus and your professional journey. So I'd love to know, and I'm sure audiences will also love to know, what's your personal power AI hack?
A lot of stuff. So I think I've been using it for more than a year and a half now, and I think it's gone beyond even in discussions, it's I think gone a little beyond the buzzword for most people. You don't know who is sending you which email written with AI. And so, that's also the challenge, that you receive a 4-paragraph email, and then you realize that most of it is written through an AI. And one is that, of course, I want to check through a zero GPT that how much of this is written through an AI or not. But then I think that I use this as more like a second brain. I use this more like a sparring partner to say that, if I'm preparing for something, or if I have a big board meeting with discussion with someone, or if I have a big presentation, we utilize a lot of those. I utilize and, talk to the bot like as if it's a friend to give me the right answers for everything. In fact, we did a big campaign where, our tagline says, "Khud ko test karte raho," and which means to keep testing yourself. And we wanted to do this regional across the different geographies. So we wanted to hit the right message, because the translated version is sometimes not really relevant for this kind of a tagline. So we wanted to have the right translation for each of these regions, and how do you position the tagline in that sense. We also did a lot of contextual advertisements in metro trains and else place, where we used a lot of copy. So we created copies, and then we check with them whether this copy will resonate with the audience or not. And I was really surprised that generative GPT was able to tell me that, would this really resonate or not, or give me a better version of the same copy or not.
Awesome. By the way, a lot of questions were generated by AI in this conversation. So yeah, I'm sure I know how many of them got, you guys got it, right? But yeah, obviously it is used as second brain. It is used as a co-pilot for a lot of us today, be it our, guidance on writing email, just having conversation. I think it just improves efficiency a lot. So yeah, I think time's up. So I would open up the questions to the audience.
Do we have any questions? Please raise your hands. We'll make the mic reach you. We'll do this quickly. In case anyone has questions, please raise your hand. There you go.
Hi. So a lot of data is being generated for the health, and a lot of reports are being online now. So how do you stop the misuse of that data? That is my first question here. Because with AI, a lot of things can be done, and a lot of harm can be done as well. You said that the data is already available now, and your data sets are being used for targeting. I would say targeting as well, because it is only being used for targeting at the moment right now. Then you can predict the diseases as well with it. So the good thing is, yes, you can predict the disease, but how do you stop the damage through that?
One is to secure the data in a vault, which is like, of course, you want to keep the data very, very secure. We do about 4 crore tests a year, and that's a large number. That's a huge amount of data that we generate for every customer. So we store the data in a very, very secure place, right? And whenever, trend data can be created, or data which can be pinpointed to a certain customer, we try to segregate that data as much as possible. So even if, if in a circumstance where there is a cyber attack, you only will probably get an anonymized form of data. You will probably not get a data which you can pinpoint to a certain customer. So that is, of course, one thing which has to be done. Of course, for the people who are using the data as well, I think the mindset that you are helping a certain patient and only keep the access to very few people on a need-to-know basis on what particular campaigns they're using. I think we want to restrict the data as much as possible, and the access to data as much as possible, while we think about creating these kind of bigger projects at the same time. That is one on restriction. I think the other element on how do we remove the misuse, I think especially for a healthcare company, we want to not serve the open internet for any kind of a generative AI automation. We only want to give trusted sources of articles and research papers where we want the engine to be looking at for answers, not everywhere else, so that everything that is coming is very, very curated when it comes to the final customer.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, sir. We have paucity of time, so there won't be any more time for questions, but our speakers are here, so you can always reach them for exchange of ideas. Thank you so much for that powerful conversation. Before we move any further, ladies and gentlemen, I request the speakers to please stay back with us. We would like to take you through the special presentation by Single Interface. Let's cue it up and play it here.
The question, But in a world of endless choices, which brand shows up and why? Today's consumers expect answers in seconds. Yet multi-location brands still struggle with discovery, customer engagement, and turning interactions into insights. At Single Interface, we're changing that with an AI engine that connects discovery to decision. Our Growth AI does the groundwork. It powers every location with the intelligence to convert more, respond faster, and perform better, without added headcount. Then comes Insights AI that captures rich contextual nuggets from every touchpoint, calls, clicks, reviews, and turns them into clear actions to drive business growth. It's how auto brands improve test drive conversions, how banks target by branch, and how F&B chains deliver delight one near me at a time. From 400 plus brands to millions of local moments, Single Interface AI agents are powering local marketing at scale.